Hey guys.
Are you guys doing? Welcome again to Impact. I'm happy to be joining you for the second time today, and I am excited because we have our special guest on with us tonight, and she is from our area. Some of you may or may not know her, but Shami Miller is from the area. Welcome, Shami.
Thank you, Evadne. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Am I saying your name correctly?
Sure, Shami.
Shami. Is there a meaning for Shami?
Well, in terms of the meaning, I'm not sure about it, but my mother told me that it is African. But when
Uh-huh.
I became an adult, I was told that it is Indian. So that's the
Oh,
origin. So still not sure. But
okay,
I
okay.
will go with mommy's origin, the African.
Yes, yes. Why not? Sounds good though. Shami Miller. So Shami, could you just for those people who are joining us here, and I'm seeing Audrey. Good evening. Hi, Audrey. And she says hi, Shami. I don't know if
Hi,
you're able to read
Audrey.
the screen. Are you? Can you just go ahead and tell us where you're from? Because I'm sure a lot of people will be waiting to hear that.
Okay, no problem. So I'm from Donegal.
Mhm.
The pronunciation may vary, but as a child, I was taught that it is Donegal. So it is a little bit outside of Brighton. That is
Okay.
where I grew up.
Okay.
I,
So
yes, I went to, in those days, we used to say Rosebank Basic School.
okay.
So that was located at the Brighton New Testament Church.
Uh
And
huh.
then after that, I went to Clapham All Age School.
All right. So let's hold it there for the Donegal thing, because I've never heard that word being so massaged. Donegal. you know, we used to say Donegal, right?
Well, that is true. That's true. True, Evadne. Denigal. By Denigal.
Donegal.
You're right.
So for people who are listening and don't know what is Donegal, it is Donegal, right? Because that's what we are accustomed
That
to
works
calling it.
too.
But people are fantastic with calling things exactly what they feel like calling it. It's a bit like Cool Retreat, which they used to call Cooley Street. And I think until today, some people think it's Cooley Street and don't know it's Cool Retreat. You know, so I think it's the same thing with Donegal. Um, yeah. So we you went to basic school in the area, and you went to Clapham Primary School, right?
Clapham All Age at that time.
At
Correct.
all age at that time. And is that school still in existence?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I did interview someone from Clapham. Yes. So after Clapham, where did you go?
So after Clapham, I did my common entrance
Uh huh.
and I was placed at Lacovia High School.
Okay.
So I went there for
Were you
2 years.
crying?
Pardon?
Were you crying that you
A
didn't
whole heap
get
of
to go?
balling. A whole heap of, and the thing is, my parents were teachers.
Oh.
So I remember when the result came out at that time when I did it, my brother was at Monroe.
Uh
And I
huh.
remember the Friday when he came down and he
Mhm.
said, how comes he didn't see my name in the newspaper? Because
Because
remember
he
back
was
in
just
those days, that's what they used to do. They used to
right.
publish
You're
the
right.
placement of the
Mhm.
students.
Mhm.
So of course I bawled
Uh
and
huh.
my mother bawled too. And
Oh.
and she actually went to Hampton in order to get me a transfer. And when she
right.
went there, she was told that they don't take students who pass for Lacovia. So I
Because
had
they're
no
they're
choice.
not up there, right?
No, right. So listen to the story. So I had no choice but to go. So
Mhm.
when I went to Lacovia, I went there when I was 11.
Mhm.
And at that time, I was still eligible to do the common entrance because remember, we used to have chances: first
Right.
chance, second chance, third chance depending on on the time of the year that you were born.
Right. Right.
So after enrolling in Lacovia High School in grade 7, I did the common entrance again.
True
And
Clapham.
yeah, I did the common entrance again. And at that time, I passed for Black River High School.
Oh,
So it was
interesting.
another bawling, but my mother is a strong person. She's resilient. She doesn't give up easily. So I ended up spending 2 years at
Uh-huh.
Lacovia. So she
Uh-huh.
went again for another transfer, but this time no. It was a little bit easier because my aunt at that time knew somebody that was in the hierarchy in terms of management of the school. So I got to
Right.
transfer.
Oh my
So,
God.
so upon going there though, so by that time I would have been 12.
Right.
So going there now, they said to me that I would have to repeat grade 8 because what I did at Lacovia would not have been equivalent to their standard at
Okay.
Hampton. So I repeated, and
But
the
you were still young.
I was still young, and the
Mm-hmm.
condition under which I was accepted was that I maintained a particular average. And the principal at that time told my mother that if I did not maintain that particular average, she would ask for me to be removed. So that is how I ended up at Hampton. And I
It's
spent
it's it's
6 years
funny that
there.
they gave you such a hard time.
But Evadne, listen to how it goes now. So I ended up spending 6 years there. So when I went there in grade 8, I came in the top 3. So now
Yeah.
they ask, how comes you
Yeah.
didn't pass to come to here? And then
Yeah.
over the years, I maintained that standard.
Mm. Mm.
So that was my
It's
high school
amazing.
experience.
It's amazing. It's the same. Well, not the same thing, but my first year into high school, I didn't pass common entrance. My first year into high school, after 5 years being out of school, period, meaning you went through the all age school system. My first year in high school, I was on the honor roll.
Oh,
So yeah, it I, I I don't even want to talk about that system that existed that time for education in Jamaica. It was horrible, I think, very horrible.
yeah.
And I'm happy your mother was so persistent and resilient to make sure that you got into the high school of
Yes,
your choice,
my
but not
choice.
not just to settle. Not that anything is wrong. You could have gone
Exactly.
through Lacovia and
Of
did
course.
very well just the
Mhm,
same. Because I've
mhm.
interviewed a lot of people on this program who went to Lacovia and they did well. But, just that thing of them keeping you out while taking other people from other parishes to fill up
Mhm.
our high school in our parish. And
Exactly.
that nonsense, I hope it is not the case anymore, although I suspect it may be. Because it is an evil system that allows people from other parishes to come to the best of our high schools while shut our students out,
And
you
just
know?
to add to that, Evadne, at that time, I made the way for others to come because I have a
Mm.
friend who attended Lacovia too. And after I got in, she came and the principal started to take others. So, in a
Okay.
way, I kind of set,
Open the door
right,
for, for,
open the
for
door
that
for
set
them.
of people to come in. Yeah,
Correct.
that's wonderful. So I have Audrey here, as I said before. Barbara Carrera is here. Monica Jones, Jacqueline Spence, Carol, Evadne Swaby, and I'm sure a lot more people are here based on the number of people I'm seeing here. Guys, as you come in, please remember to say something in the chat, because if you don't, Facebook will not know that you want to see content from this broadcast. So it's best to interact with the page, share by all means. Make sure a lot of people come in to watch and listen to Shami's story as she talks about her life and growing up in our area. And she already dropped that bomb about not passing her common entrance and what she had to go through. to get to the high school of her choice. And so I'm sure this story will inspire a lot of people. So make sure you like and share the page as you come in. Comment. We're gonna go on to a Q&A section where you can ask her questions as we go along about her life and her job and so on. All right. So I appreciate you guys being here. So just go ahead and share so more people can see and join us. We're streaming live through YouTube as well. And thank you guys for joining us. Even if you join us afterwards to watch this video, please make a comment just the same. And through Eve McLily's page. So please, wherever you're joining us from, we appreciate you guys. And when you watch it afterwards, just you could put a hashtag replay and be sure to leave a comment for us so we know that you are here. And we do appreciate you guys. Shami, we're so excited to have you and to hear
Yeah.
that first part of your story. A mother who did not give up. She knew, what she needed for her child, and that you had the brain to worthy of being in any good high school in the island, especially the one of your choice, which is in your own parish, which
Mm-hmm.
we were always shut out of.
Mm-hmm.
So, how was your experience at Locovia though?
In terms of Lacovia at that time, I the experience in itself was good, but in terms of the how should I put it now? The competitiveness, I
Mm-hmm.
did not have that there. So for instance, I would be coming first and second with 70s, 60s. So it's like I was not challenged or inspired to be my
Right,
best.
right.
But outside of that, I think it was a good experience, and
Uh-huh.
it actually molded me in different ways. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say it was a good experience.
Okay, wonderful. So you went on to Hampton, and how was that?
So at Hampton, for me, for the first term, it was a culture shock. I did not
Mhm.
understand because coming from Lacovia, I didn't study. I just went to my bed in the evenings and get my 70s and it's first and second. When I went to
Right.
Hampton for the first term, I didn't really understand the studying thing. So
Uh-huh.
I remember in the very first term, I came 16 out of 33 students with an average in the 70s.
Uh-huh.
16 out of 33.
16.
That was the very first term.
Right.
And there was a particular subject that I didn't like. It was agricultural science. And
Uh-huh.
I remember today that teacher and I are good friends. Big up Mr. Hall. What he used to do, the students who got the lowest, he would write their names and the scores on the board. So I
Uh-huh.
remember one day I got 30%. And then he had this thing that he did, like he would say, I don't understand how X person can get 100% and Y person only getting 30%. So
Hmm.
from that day, I said to myself, but wait, my name can't go back on the board. So I
Hmm.
realized that those girls were strategic, they were disciplined.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
soon after, I got into the habit. So at the end of the year, I came
Mhm.
third. So in
Ah.
the first term, it was, I remember distinctly,
Mhm.
16 out of 33. And
Right.
at the end of the year, I was placed third. So at the prize giving service, the principal who told mommy that if I didn't perform, she's going to ask for me to be removed. When she gave me that award, she did not say, well done. And she and I at no time had any conversation. But the
Mhm.
way that she looked at me, I know that I had proven her wrong because that's what she told my mother. Prove me
Uh.
wrong because I'm coming from Lacovia. So guess what? I must fail. So
Okay.
after I had set that standard now, coming third,
Mhm.
them going
Mhm.
to say you're bright, so you just have to live up to it. So
Right.
right
Right.
there, So right throughout, I made sure that I did what I was supposed to do, and
Did you surprise yourself?
I knew I had it within me.
Uh-huh.
I was. How should I put it? I was pleased. I was happy. I was not surprised. I was
Okay.
happy that I proved her wrong. And
Uh,
up till today, me love prove people wrong. If you tell me that me can't do it, trust me, I
You're
will.
gonna do it. You're gonna
I
do it.
will do it.
And I can imagine your mother's head was even higher.
But what she did, my
Mhm.
mother, daddy was more the quiet ones. If
Mhm.
mommy was the kind that schoolwork education was very important. So whenever
Mhm.
the reports came, there were some
Mhm.
subjects that she looked out for. Mathematics was one, and English language. So
Mhm.
those she didn't want to see you get less than 90s. Daddy,
Okay.
he would ask you if you did your best. If you say you did your best, he's cool with that. So what had
Mhm.
happened after the first year when I came third, my mother
Mhm.
said, no, if you come in the top two, I'll send you to Cuba and Mexico. There was a trip going on at that time. So she said to me, if you come in the top two, I will send you. And guess what? I
She
did.
did. Ah, that's wonderful. That is so
So
wonderful.
I like challenges. And if you tell me that I can't, I
You
will.
will. That's wonderful. Okay, so what did you focus on when you were studying at Hampton? Was it the sciences or?
So I think my mother wanted me to be a doctor, a
Mhm.
medical doctor. I have never
Mhm.
ever wanted to be a medical doctor. So
Right.
she told me that I must do the sciences.
Uh-huh.
So I did biology, I did chemistry, I did physics, and then I did Spanish, English literature, geography, and math and English.
Okay.
And I was successful in all of those subjects. Then I went on to sixth form, where I did biology,
So
chemistry,
wait, how
math
many
and,
how many were those?
pardon?
How many subjects were there?
Eight.
Eight. So
So I
getting
did,
eight subjects
right.
in one shot at that time was a big thing.
At that time, yes, it was a
Mhm.
big thing.
It was a
And
big
I did
thing.
the sciences.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so after that, I proceeded to sixth form where I did biology, chemistry, and mathematics.
Mhm. And you were successful too.
And I was successful.
Okay. So did you participate in extracurricular activities over there?
I was always athletic, but
Uh-huh.
for some reason I was too stush, so I didn't run. But I was
Oh
always
boy.
athletic from primary school. I used to go to those days they call them DA sports or something like
Uh-huh.
that. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
DA. So I used to attend those. So when I went to Hampton, I did not do athletics, but what I did, I participated like in service clubs, like
Okay.
clubs
Okay.
and so on.
Okay. So you were more in leadership.
More in
You you
leadership.
were you were too stush to get sweaty.
Too stush to do the running, but leadership, I was like the prefect. And funny enough, Evadne, I was the prefect because when it comes on to rules too, that's another thing
Uh-huh.
with me. So
Uh-huh.
back in those days at Hampton, I was the prefect, would probably have a little front part of the hair bleach out or something, but because I don't give any trouble, nobody not paying me any mind. So
Oh,
yeah,
oh.
so I was a prefect when I was there.
Okay. All right. So great. Well, wonderful. And from there you went to where? UWI?
Right. So after sixth form, I went to UE,
Mhm.
and UE was another experience for me. And
Mhm.
I had life-changing events there. My first daughter I had when I was in first year at UE.
Okay.
So, so for
So
me, UE was a life-changing experience. That is
okay.
where I transformed from adolescence straight into adulthood. All sort of things happened there.
So
So
you got pregnant in in first
at
year of
UE,
college.
so
At
my
first year of college.
first,
I,
right, the end of the
did
first
you
year.
did you drop out?
No, no, I wouldn't let that
You
drop
were
me
able to
out.
you were able to continue have the baby and still kept the
So,
pace?
so I took off 2 weeks,
Ah, girl,
two
you're
weeks,
strong.
and so I was doing at that time it was called Pure and Applied Sciences.
Uh-huh.
So we would be required to do labs and so on. And I sat and I analyzed the situation. I said to myself, I am not ill. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to have the baby and I come back. So I went to classes up to the day before I had my daughter. So,
Wow.
and I took off exactly 2 weeks. And during the period, I made sure I got my notes. And as I got back on campus, I had a major test. And I did
Oh,
well.
wow. You're strong. Your mother, was your mother the support behind you with all of this? Or friends?
I think she did. Initially, she would have
Mm-hmm.
been disappointed, but
Right.
in terms of how I see life, it's not a script, and different
Mm-hmm.
things come. And when
Right.
they come from, I'm young, I tell myself that I am responsible for my outcome. So
Uh-huh.
comes what me, I'm
Right.
responsible.
Yeah.
So I told myself that I'm not going to be in the group that drop out because
Mm-hmm.
of pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to continue. So I took off the 2 weeks and I went back on track. The only thing that I did differently in terms of my academics, when I started, I was enrolled purely in the natural sciences. So
Mm-hmm.
after I got pregnant now, I assessed the situation and I said to myself, what am I going to do with these science subjects
If
after
you're
I
not.
get the degree
Mm-hmm.
from pure and applied? What are you going to do with it? Most
Right.
people teach it. So what happened now? I went over the education faculty and I
Uh-huh.
did some courses there. So at
Mm-hmm.
that time they had a special option. They called it biology with education. So they call it a double major option.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
the degree would have been in both biology and education. So when
Okay.
I left, I would have been a trained teacher. So instead of my counterparts that would have been pre-trained, they would have just had their Bachelor of Science degree, but they
Mm-hmm.
would be a pre-trained if they can't find employment and they go into the classroom. I
Right.
would be a trained graduate, so I would be getting the income
Of a trained teacher.
of a trained teacher, the persons who went through teachers' colleges, then did their upgrading and so on. And
Right.
to date, I have
No regrets.
no regrets right in doing that because that
Mm-hmm.
sort of paved the way for other things for me.
And certainly that was like nuts and bolts for you. Like you couldn't fail at that point because
No,
even if you didn't make it in say the business world or so, you could go back to teaching. You
correct,
had those two careers, two
correct.
different things to bounce and around and play with at that stage. So that was a great choice you made to do the double major. Um, so persons who are joining us in the group, if you're just joining us, my guest is Shami Miller from Donegal, and
Yes,
although
Donegal
otherwise called
or
Donegal.
Donegal.
Over there in Newmarket, and it's in the hills near Brighton, I think.
Yes, it is.
And yes, and some of you may or may not know it, but she is a very strong young lady, um, the daughter of two teachers, and she is telling us her life story and her journey from all going through the different stages of her education. So she's up to where she went to university. She got pregnant in her first year, but it did not stop her. It probably sobered her up a little bit, but she was able to continue with her course at the university without dropping out. She only took off 2 weeks to have her baby and continue her program. So from that, we could see that this is a strong-willed person, and she's probably physically strong too, because to be able to just take off 2 weeks to have a baby, I only hear of stuff of like that in America. Because typically in Jamaica, when we're growing up, someone having a baby, you need to be in the house until 6 weeks clinic,
When when
because
when they live with the grandmas,
because
that
you're
time
gonna
I was
catch
living alone.
you're gonna catch cold in your mold, and the baby's gonna catch cold and all of that good stuff. So, to be just 2 weeks off and go back, it was like really that's tough at that time for the culture. So, Newton Nemard here has joined us. Yvonne Wilson, watching from New York. Beverly Smith, Zilora Pinnock, Pamela Cameron, Dwayne Miller. Welcome, guys. And if there's anyone else that I didn't mention, it's because I don't see you. Because if you don't comment, I can't see that you're on. So just go ahead and say something in the chat so that we know that you are here. And remember to like and share so more people can hear about your story. And so, you left university with your bachelor's, or did you continue with your master's at that stage?
So I left university with my bachelor's and I went into education. I went back to my alma mater. So
Mhm.
I went back to Hampton the year after I graduated. I taught CAPE biology, so that is
Mhm.
advanced biology, and I taught chemistry. So I
Oh,
spent
wonderful.
so I spent 1 year there.
Mhm.
After that, I went to Manning's and I taught at Manning's for 2 years, and then I went back to do my master's.
Okay. So did you meet Audrey Williams down in Manning?
Yes, but I know Audrey as what now. Audrey, what's Audrey's? Woolery, Woolery. Audrey
Yes, she's
Woolery.
she's on here. Yes, same one.
Hi, Audrey.
Oh yeah, she said we taught at Manning's. Yeah, right. Wonderful. All right. So yeah. So at what stage did you go to do your master's?
So after teaching for 3 years, so after I left Manning's, I had a permanent position there and I left it. And I went back to UWE and
Mhm.
did a master's in educational measurement. I was a full-time student, and at that time I taught full-time too. I taught at Calabar. So I
Oh.
wanted to make sure that the finances were well balanced. So I made
Mhm.
sure that
Mhm.
I worked. So I
Right.
taught full-time and I studied 2 times. So the program was for 2 years.
Uh-huh.
So I graduated with a master in education.
Oh, that's wonderful. And at what point did you get into insurance?
So after I finished my master's degree,
Uh-huh.
I left Kingston and I went to Montego Bay. I taught for 1 year
Uh-huh.
at Herbert Morrison. And at that time, I remember the classroom was getting a little bit serious in
Uh-huh.
terms
Yeah.
of the students and all of
Right.
that. And I remember I it was the third term, the Easter break, and I think we had
Mhm.
a um, a meeting, a staff meeting, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And at that time, I met the a unit manager from Guardian Life Montego Bay.
Mhm.
And I guess he wanted to prospect me, wanted to sell me insurance.
Right.
And he asked me what field I was in, and I told him education. And he
Mhm.
said to me if I would give sales a try. And I said, yes,
Mm.
just like that.
Just like that.
And getting into insurance, that was another thing. Because some persons, even my brother that I love dearly, when
Uh-huh.
I got in, he was trying to persuade me not to go in it.
Right. Right.
So I remember, I don't know if he remembers, and more than likely he's watching right now too. So I hope that he remembers. I remember one day I put on my jacket suit. I went to
Mhm.
look for him. And when he
Mhm.
saw me, he asked me if I'm not going to find proper work to do. And I looked at him and I looked at him and I
Proper
said to
work.
myself, proper work. So I look at him and I said to myself, proper work. So this is not proper work. Daddy, Daddy, he said to me that boy, I wouldn't leave teaching if I were in your position. But
Uh-huh.
funny enough, my mother is the risk taker. She didn't
Uh-huh.
tell me not to. She asked me
Right.
the questions, she asked me about the income, and she supported me. And I
Mm.
found that one a little bit odd because she would be the one telling me, do this, do that. So that is how
Right.
I came into life insurance. And going, yes, go ahead.
I was gonna say at that point your mother must realize that you know what you're doing.
Well, possibly.
Yeah. So she would have trusted you by then.
Right. So that is how I came into insurance. So I joined the life insurance industry in 2013.
Okay. And you never look back.
I never looked back. And in my first year, trophies upon trophies. So in my first year, I set the standard for myself. $1 million round table from 2013 up to now.
Wow.
I've qualified for conventions. That's where the
Uh-huh.
company pays for you to
To
go to
attend.
exotic
Mm-hmm.
places,
Right.
5-star hotels,
Hmm.
airfare, every
Hmm.
single thing. So they
Oh
do that
wow.
for their top advisors. So over the years, I've done well in life insurance.
So what do you think drew you to, apart from wanting to get out of the classroom? I'm sure you had many other options. What do you think kind of drew you towards insurance?
Well, to be honest with you, I knew of the field, but I did not really know a lot about it.
Mhm.
But I made some observations. Most of the sales agents that I saw, they looked well taken care of, and to me they seemed as though they were making a lot of money, so I
Mhm.
was willing to take on that risk because that
Okay.
is how they appeared on the outside. I used to see them in some big SUV and some big thick suits and all of them something
And
there.
considering that Shami is the bashment girl already, so she wants to wear suits, right?
So I think that drew me to it. And the thing is, I'm a risk taker. I always ask myself, what is the worst thing that can happen?
Right.
Possibly, I learn some lessons and move on. And uh,
Okay.
and if I don't like it, I can leave. And at that
Right.
time, I was what, 20, 28, 29.
Yeah.
So
See.
I said to myself, if I don't like it, I leave. Simple.
That's good. That was a good attitude. Someone tried to get me into insurance in my 20s, and I got they give you that package which is you're supposed to go get 100 names and address and
Hmm.
whatever and give them. When I
Hmm.
started it and look at it, I'm like, so when I give them all of this information, who do I sell afterwards?
That's the question most people ask.
Yes, I didn't go any further with it because I didn't believe in it life insurance like that. I don't think I understood enough about the importance of insurance. And I still have people chase me here to do life insurance, but I haven't gotten around to it. It's not too late, but still haven't made up my mind. Barbara is asking what kind of insurance is Guardian life insurance.
Life. So we do
Well,
life,
it's
we do
life.
health,
It's life. Hmm.
life, health.
Life and health.
Mhm.
Does that include stuff like final expenses?
Correct. So that would
Okay.
be life.
Okay. So you do life as, as can I should ask, can life insurance, or no, they do it here with just final expenses. They still call it life insurance.
Yes, it is.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
All right. And you do whole life and
And the
term
term.
and
Correct.
term life
Correct. So we
insurance.
do whole life and term.
Okay. So tell me, give me the sales pitch. Why should I buy life insurance?
Well, why life insurance?
Mhm.
One thing is guaranteed, and that's death.
Mhm.
And for individuals, the thing with life insurance, you have different aspects to it.
Mhm.
If, say, for instance, you're not interested in leaving a legacy or leaving something behind for anybody, you
Right.
may become ill, you may
Mhm.
become disabled. So
Mhm.
you have different plans based on the need. Everybody
Mhm.
must fall in one category. Either you're
Mhm.
going to get old, so we have
Mhm.
retirement plans, or you're going to die prematurely. So that would take care of the final expenses or last expenses.
Mhm.
Or you may become disabled. As I normally say to people, it's better for you to have something in place rather than not to have anything at all. Because at
Mhm.
the end of
Mhm.
the day, we will fall in one of the categories. Either
Mhm.
we live long enough and retire, and then
Mhm.
at retirement, you know that bills will be there to be paid just the same way. You'll be at home even for a longer period of time. So,
Mhm.
for instance, your water bill, a light bill, those will be more than if you were working. And
Mhm.
with our pension system that we have many persons in Jamaica who are not eligible for a pension.
Mhm.
So doing a retirement plan is a good option. So that can be used to
And
supplement.
explain what that retirement plan would be.
Right. So in terms of the retirement plan, that can perform two roles. It can supplement other pension plans that you have, for instance, government pension plans,
Mhm.
or it can be an individual plan by itself. So when you
Mhm.
reach at a particular age, at that particular age, at least you know that you have an institution that you'll be getting some pension from. So in terms of our pension plans, we have, or let me say retirement, let me not say pension.
Mhm.
In terms of
So
our
like
retirement,
me, I'm in my 50s. I could take out a retirement plan, and I get it at what age? Do I set the age, or is it automatic?
so for some of them, you can get it in 15 years. Some of them you can choose to take it at age 65. So you have
Mhm.
some of them that are quite flexible. So
Mhm.
some you can take at 65, some you can go beyond 65, and then when you reach that age, you take a lump sum and then you can reinvest it into what we call annuities. So
Yes,
it's based.
Pamela was just asking if you're talking about annuities.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's based on the individual's need. Then you have a
Mhm.
lot of self-employed
Mhm.
persons
Mhm.
that sometimes in terms of their businesses, it is not structured in a way that enables any sort of substantial saving or investment as it relates to retirement. So
Mhm.
this would be a structured way in order to make sure that for your old age, you have something put away. So that is an
Wonderful.
example of a retirement plan. Then you have life insurance. You have,
And talk about whole life. What does that mean?
all right, so in terms of plans, you have two categories. You have what we call whole life. So as
Mhm.
the name suggests, it goes up to age 100, whole of your life, all of your
Mhm.
life, whole life.
Mhm.
Then
Mhm.
you have what we call term insurance. So with
Mhm.
the term insurance, it goes for a specific period of time, whether it is 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and so on. So the difference is that with the whole life plan, you have the option to invest. So that is a part of the plan. That is how they design it. So you have
Mhm.
a part of it that goes to the life insurance itself. You have another part that goes toward your investment. So a
Mhm.
whole life policy can also be used as a retirement plan because you have the investment part of it.
Mhm.
Then you
Mhm.
have the term insurance. You don't have any sort of investment. It is just for a specific period of time. But the beauty about it is that it is renewable up to a particular age or stage. So, say for
Mhm.
instance, you take out a 5 year term insurance, you can renew it for another 5 years and another 5 years and so on. And it is also convertible. So, if something were to happen and you believe that you no longer want a term insurance, you now want a whole life insurance, it can be converted into whole life. And another great thing about the term life in insurance, we say that insurability is guaranteed. What does this mean? If when you're 20, you take out a term insurance, you are in immaculate health. And when you reach 25, your health condition has changed. The insurers will not ask you any questions about your health. So it's a
Okay.
way of guaranteeing your insurability, your ability to be insured. So that's
Okay.
another way. And the term insurance, those are very cheap plans. Cheap plans.
Okay. Yeah. Pamela, who seems to know a lot about insurance, says not all whole life goes to 100, and it's very expensive. Um,
All whole life at Guardian go to 100.
all at Guardian.
All
Okay.
at
And
Guardian.
okay. And that's all you're prepared to be talking about. What happens at your company? So for people who live overseas, can they have insurance in Jamaica?
Sure, they can do, yes, provided they have a TRN. So that's the
Okay.
requirement. So if they
Okay.
have a TRN, sure they can.
What about well, I guess that's not a valid question. I was gonna ask what about the final expenses? If you could pay for final expenses to have it there, I guess it goes to say yes, because you did say that is final expense insurance is another form of life insurance.
Right. Yes, that would be
Yes,
one of the one of the benefits or one of the needs, if you want to put it
right,
that way.
right. So people who even don't want insurance for the long haul, they if they know that they want their body to be flown home if they live overseas, and they want to make sure that when they die, their family back there is not in a big problem to bury them. Maybe that's a great option for them, as well as they could have insurance overseas.
Correct.
Yeah. Uh, Let me see here. Why should I buy insurance instead of saving my money? Says Barbara.
The thing with insurance, it's based on risk, it's
Mhm.
based on probability.
Mhm.
And even last week, there was a client who paid one premium. He
Mhm.
died from COVID, and his beneficiaries got 5 million.
Oh
One
wow.
premium.
One.
So that answers the question.
Wow. Um. Someone is. That's amazing. Someone is. Oh my God. He just
So
saved
that
that
answers the
family.
question.
So did he know if he had COVID before?
No, 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 man, he didn't. When
He
he took
didn't.
out the policy, he was in good health.
Okay. Okay.
And then,
Someone is asking for your number. Yeah. And then
um,
he got
so my
the
number is 276-9406, and my email address is shami.miller, that is shami.miller at myguardiangroup.com.
Let me type this in here. I don't want to touch the computer up there in case everything goes bad. Repeat the number again.
276,
27. That's
so
seven,
that's 876
eight
eight
seven six.
seven
One
six
second. 876
276
276
9406.
9406. And the email is Shami Shami
Miller
dot Miller
at myguardiangroup.com.
at my GUARDIAN group.com. All right. I I put it in the chat. All right. So yeah, that sounds good. $5 million. Oh my God.
So it's
Wow.
so it's based on probability. So it's the pooling of risks. And the thing is, you don't know.
No, you
So that's
won't.
the difference. So whereas yes, you can save your money, but the end of the day, sometimes your savings will not get to the point where you would have wanted, especially if you have dependents. So
Mhm.
life insurance is a
Mhm.
great vehicle for
Mhm.
investment.
Mhm. Mhm. And I told this story the last time I had my friend on here talking about insurance. I mean, making plans, financial planning, and about my girlfriend who took out an insurance, a very sizable insurance here, and she had a young son, and she thought she was taking out the insurance for her son to get it when she dies,
Mhm.
but her son was killed in his late teens. I think he was probably about 19 when they
Mhm.
shot him.
Mhm.
And she got that money. She never thought in her wildest dream that she's the one who would have gotten that money. But
Mhm.
she got it, and she was able to buy herself a house and
Mhm.
do all of these things that she couldn't see herself
Mhm.
doing
Mhm.
while working, you
Mhm.
know. But it gave her a jump start in life. She was grieving
Mhm.
over her son, but
Mhm.
she could have lost the son without a
Mhm.
cent.
Exactly.
But because
Exactly.
she made
Mhm.
that sensible choice of having a good insurance for herself, which she thought she was leaving for him, it ended up benefiting her. So
Mhm.
goes back to the point that Barbara was asking, why not save your money instead?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
She couldn't have saved up those hundreds of thousands of dollars,
Mhm.
at that time, but she was able to get
And,
it
and
back.
and just to add to that, Evadne, in terms of savings, there are no great returns on savings.
No,
So we have
no,
to get into the
definitely not.
habit of investing.
Investing. Yeah. I have my little insurance, my little whole life insurance that I drag out the money out of every now and then. So yeah,
Right, because of the investment part.
yeah,
Mhm.
it has that
Mhm.
little backup component. And if I
Mhm.
don't pay it back and I die, they'll just minus it from whatever
Mhm.
they give my beneficiary. So that's still cool. But at least
Mhm.
I can take it when there is money in there. I can take it and do what I need to
Of
do,
course.
and I
Mhm.
can pay it back at my
Mhm.
own pace. And if I don't pay it back or all of it, they'll just minus it from whatever the policy is.
And just to add to that, in terms of the plans that we have here, um, they are not loans. So in terms of the investment portion, they don't have
Mhm.
to pay it back.
Right, right. Do you have good insurance for people like in their 50s, or is it very
Yes,
expensive?
we have good insurance for everybody. It ends at age 76. For everybody, the
What did I
children, we
eat?
have education plans.
Uh-huh.
Then for critical illness, that goes up to age 60. And
Uh-huh.
I'm big on critical illness because sometimes, as I tell people, sometimes it's not death. You want to
It's
live. It's
something
about
happened to
doing,
you,
yeah,
then
so
yeah.
that you can get the necessary treatments and so on. So critical illness ends at age 70. And then the other policies go up to age 76.
Okay.
And some people believe that life insurance is costly. You have
Uh-huh.
different products with different needs. So it does not have to be costly. Yes, the older you are, the more expensive it is, but
Mm-hmm.
we have a range of products that can
Okay.
suit your need.
So Barbara is asking, what are the requirements to buy a policy in Jamaica? And then Pamela said, what is the average cost of a funeral in Jamaica? I think you could take those two together.
Okay, so what are the requirements? So
To
your
buy a policy in Jamaica, because she lives overseas. So that's
Okay,
what
so
she's
you
asking.
need a TRN. That's compulsory. You need an ID. The ID can be a Jamaican ID or whatever ID you use overseas. And we need a proof of age. So for your proof of age, we use your birth certificate or a passport. So the process is pretty much simple. So
Mhm.
those are the basic requirements, along
Mhm.
with proof of income if you're employed.
Mhm. Okay. What is the average funeral cost in Jamaica?
All right, so the average, I would say, so it's based on what you want, because you know that in terms of these funeral packages, if you need band or if you need a particular kind of casket and all of those things, and with the band, and then you have some hearses
maybe
that
we should
are not
maybe
the
we should
old,
maybe we
they're
should
not
ask
the
Utah.
old-fashioned ones.
Utah was here. Utah, what is the average cost for a well-to-do funeral in Jamaica? Just an
So
average
all
cost.
right, so for the well-to-do can run anywhere between 800,000 to 1 million, 1.2. So if you
Mhm.
need the band and all of that thing,
Mhm.
it can run there. But on the cheaper side, you can get a decent package for roughly 400,000, 400 to 500,000.
Okay. So that 500,000 to 750,000 is where most people would fall in, I guess. And then that depends if you want chariot and all of that. Is there any medical?
For the policies, so we have different
Yeah.
kinds of policies. So we have medical policies and we have non-medical policies. So
Mhm.
based on your health condition, based
Mhm.
on your need, um, you will choose the package that suits you the most. So we have both medical and non-medical.
Okay. Would you say to people that people who have like older folks home, or anybody, don't have to be old because everybody's dying like crazy these days in Jamaica, um, that it makes good sense for you to pool together, especially those who live abroad or those who are working, to pool together to have insurance for each family member?
Certainly, Evadne. I have so many overseas clients that I've never met. Even this week, I have one from Antigua. She's asking me to insure her grandmother in St. Thomas. So it is a good thing. And I think a lot of persons overseas, they have recognized this, because I don't know if it is also expensive, because I even have clients who live overseas who have policies with me. Some of
Mhm.
them say that it's expensive overseas in terms of
Mhm.
life insurance.
Mhm.
So it's a good idea to pool and
Mhm.
when that happens, because I always say to people, sometimes these things happen in the middle of some sort of, whether self-improvement for some people, or sometimes when you're doing something when you really don't have the liquid.
When you
You
don't
really
have it.
don't have the liquid.
Right, right.
So what life insurance does, it provides that liquid, and it is tax free. So if the
Mm-hmm.
person is covered for 1 million, it will not be taxed. They will
Right.
get the 1 million. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
good idea. So it's easier for you to put away a small amount every single month, or however you
Mm-hmm.
want to do it, whether annually. And
Mm-hmm.
then you know that if that situation arises, as in Jamaica, we would say, take shame from out of your eye.
Take shame out of your eye, and
For
everybody
some
is afraid
people.
of that.
Right. And instead of taking out loans for burials when you have insurance
or
companies,
or
no.
be begging on what they call the thing there where they raise funds.
GoFundMe.
GoFundMe. Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you need medical to buy a policy? Someone is asking.
Right. So we have two kinds. We have medical plans where they may request a medical depending on your health condition, depending on the coverage of the policy, depending on the type of policy. And you also have non-medical where at no time they'll request a medical.
Hmm.
So the answer to that question would be yes. You have non-medical and medical.
What would be a typical case when they don't ask for medical?
All right, so in terms of life insurance, it's about risks, right? So, say for instance, there is a 25-year-old. She's in excellent health condition, no diabetes, no hypertension, no asthma. She does her frequent checkups at the doctor, her routine medical, as we would call it, no
Mhm.
issues at all. And she's, say she's a teacher. So that would be standard risk. We call that standard. So they're not going to ask for any medical. So it's
Mhm.
based on health condition, it's based on other risk factors such as avocation or occupation. So it's
Mhm.
based on different things.
Okay. All right. Yvonne Wilson says, I do recommend some form of insurance, term or whole life, so that your family is not burdened at the time of your demise. I've always maintained a life insurance from high school, $6.95 per month, 10K at Prudential Life. All right. So
Very
that
good.
sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Sound like we need to up our insurance game. So a part of insurance that we don't seem to emphasize um, often in our community, meaning the Black community, is that insurance can create wealth
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
within a family.
Mm-hmm.
Because when those people get old, or
Mm-hmm.
when they die,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of money that can come back in the family that can put
Mm-hmm.
the family on solid ground. So we
Mm-hmm.
should never just
Mm-hmm.
think about insurance as
Mm-hmm.
something that we need when
Mm-hmm.
we are alive, well, to bury us, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
end of it. If
Mm-hmm.
you have in Jamaican sense, the million don't really mean that much. But think about, you have a 5 million, $10 million insurance,
Mm-hmm.
and you die, or you live till you that old, and you leave it and give your family members.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how rich they will become at
Of
having all
course.
of this
Yeah.
money to send the kids to school,
Mm-hmm.
to do
Mm-hmm.
whatever, to
Mm-hmm.
take them out of debt, to pay off for the
Mm-hmm.
house, to
Correct.
expand it, to do a business, to whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we should start thinking, and we should start educating our community that insurance is important, not just to bury you, but to create wealth in your family.
And to add to that too, I don't know if you remember, it still happens. Sometimes you have some families who have a lot of properties, and
Mhm.
when they die, the properties just sit there because of the transfer taxes.
Mhm.
So that is also another way in which to make sure that your estate is preserved, because
Mhm.
you have too
Mhm.
many estates that you know,
Just lying there.
just lying there. So that's
If
another way.
I mean, putting money into that is great, but yeah, you could split it. You know.
Mhm.
Um, Pamela says, I agree with Yvonne. I have insurance for my kids who are 3 years old. Who are 2 and 3 years old. Barbara says, what is the cost of a term life for 20 years for 1 million?
All right. So first, we don't have term starting at 1 million. So the minimum for term insurance is 5 million, 4 to 5 million.
Mhm.
And also, it's hard for me to quote a figure because
Mhm.
I would have to have other information,
Like the age and so
such
on.
as well, she said 20, so fine. But for instance, the coverage and so on. So
No,
it's
she
hard
said
for me to
for 20 years.
no, the coverage. So it could be 10 million coverage, 20 million coverage. So it goes by the coverage and it goes
Mhm.
by the date of birth.
Okay.
So I would need more information.
Well, I'm sure she
So
will.
that person could, you could just keep my number and then you can reach out to me. That's no problem.
Yeah, I'm sure she will get in touch with you. Almin Wilson said, "Blessed night, everyone." So again, guys, this is a very informative and interesting conversation. I had to get on here this evening and ask why weren't more people sharing the fact that you're on, and I take it that because they don't know you. Um, but the regulars here don't know you, but now they know you and see that you're an authentic person from the area. So I'm going to ask you guys again to share so that people can see that she's on and hear some of the comments that are being made, the questions that are asked. They're very, very relevant to all of us. All of us. Um, Tell me something. Think about I'm not going to call them poor, but somebody who has a small income, maybe a domestic helper, somebody's a vendor or something like that. How can they access insurance for themselves and their family? Are they priced at a point that this person could take out a policy and be able to afford it?
Sure, the prices are very competitive because, as I explained earlier, you have whole life policies, you have term policies. Term policies are very cheap, cheap,
Hmm.
cheap, cheap, cheap. And also, what I have found, because as a part of my portfolio, I have persons who are too on the lower income. And what I recognize with them is that they're very disciplined.
Hmm.
They see the need to do it, so they make the sacrifice. So
Okay.
it's about making the sacrifice. They know how to do it. So you have
And
a
it's
range of products. So it's based on the conversation in terms of their income, their disposable, and then we work out the best package to suit that person.
So what about if someone is over 65? Can they still access insurance, life
Yes,
insurance for
yes.
themselves, their family,
It goes
and
to
still?
age 76.
Okay,
So age
wonderful,
76 is the cutoff point.
wonderful, wonderful. Let me skip over a little bit back to how we spoke about how you got into life insurance. But that was your personal experience. How does someone who is listening right now get into life insurance in Jamaica?
Okay, so if someone is listening now and wants to get in life insurance, you can reach out to me because I'm also a unit manager at Guardian Life.
Where are you
And
located?
well, I am located in Kingston, but we have branches in Montego Bay, in Mandeville, in Montego Bay, Mandeville, Kingston. We have a sub branch in Maypen. So although I am in Kingston. Sales representatives can be anywhere, especially
Okay.
in this new normal. So most of our
Okay.
meetings, they're virtual meetings,
Hmm.
and you can sell insurance anywhere you wish.
Okay.
So if
Wonderful.
someone is listening and you're interested, or you know someone who might be interested, you can ask them to reach out to me. The minimum requirements would be 5 C6 subjects, including mathematics and English, in grades 1 or 2. The person must own a reliable motor vehicle. And then you have some other characteristics that
Is
we look
there any leniency with the math? Because I know that's usually a big problem for people,
well. If they don't have the math, they have to have something else, big on
like
something else.
accounting
Whether
or.
or it doesn't have to be anything academic, probably your personality. So if you realize that the mathematics or the English is not there,
Hmm.
you have to make up for it elsewhere.
Okay. And do you tell me about the processes that you go through with training and so on? So I am in my district now. I'm out of school. I have say six subjects or seven, and I don't have a car. Is there anything you could do to help me to get a car?
Well,
Can
I
I
can't.
sell insurance without a car?
These days, it's better when you have a car, especially in this whole COVID climate, because to be taking the bus or the taxi and how many taxis and how many buses. So it's easier. And remember, it is sales and it's about building a particular profile too. A lot of
Okay.
a lot of clients, they want to make sure that their agents, they are well dressed, they're driving a nice vehicle. So it's a part of the profile. So even if things are very bad at home, people take you at face value, is what they
that's
see.
that's true.
So
I told,
right. So
I,
preferably a reliable motor vehicle.
I told a lawyer friend of mine once that if if I were a client looking for a lawyer and I saw your car and how inside of it looks, I would never hire you. Honestly to God.
Yeah, but it's true. So it's one of those careers. It sounds away, but it's the hard truth.
And it's not even about high profiling. It's just how unkept and how untidy and how messy everything was. I was like, I would never hire you as a lawyer.
And that's how the clients look on to.
Yeah,
Same
if
thing.
that's
So
the way
same
you're
assessment.
presenting yourself, then why would I think that you can take care of my business?
Exactly.
Um, if one is asking, isn't the premium significantly higher for no medical check and the older you are?
Correct. In
All right.
terms of significantly higher,
Hmm.
that part is a little bit relative, but seeing that the non-medical plan would be taking on persons of different risks, some ill, some this, some that, naturally it's going to be higher. But in
Right.
terms of significantly higher, it would be based on some other things. It would be based on the kind of plan, because we
Okay.
have non-medical plans that are quite competitive, quite cheap. So it depends on
Okay.
the kind of plan.
All
But the
right.
non-medical, you would end up getting less coverage as opposed to a medical plan.
All right. So, let me ask you $1 million question. Are you willing to mentor some young people from the area into insurance?
When you say the area in terms of
The
Numa,
the wider new market area.
that's no problem. In terms of going back to the area, I would say I go back probably once per month. Prior to
Mhm.
COVID, it
Mhm.
was once per month, but now probably a little bit longer. But I've
Mhm.
never met anybody from the area that's interested, and I do have clients from the area.
But you see, it goes back to the fact that they probably don't know.
Well, that's true.
Maybe nobody ever sit down and explain to
Well,
them
that's
that,
true. That's true.
because a lot of people are afraid of insurance because it's usually that it doesn't offer a salary up front. Um, you have to work by commission.
Mhm.
Let's clear that up. Is this your someone who is starting now? Is it just commission they can work for, or can they work for commission plus a base pay?
Um, how should I put it? We don't have a base pay, but because it is sales driven, you have
Mhm.
different income streams.
Mhm.
So, because it is sales driven, you have to always be extrinsically motivating people. From time to time, we have different competitions. So, there is always something to aspire toward.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
outside of the commission, you have incentives, and persons who do well, you have bonuses. And then the longer you spend in the business, provided that in the early years you did well, you get good, what we call renewal income. So renewal income means that the policies that you wrote, say in the first year, second year, when you reach in the third year, if those policies remain on the books, you will still get an income from it. So I must say, though, that in terms of the industry,
Mm-hmm.
possibly about 10% of the individuals do well. So it is not an easy field, not an easy field, but if you get to love it, you see it more than just an income, then you will make an impact. You'll make
Mm-hmm.
yourself, persons will refer you. And then that is when you reach at that stage, that is the highest stage when you become referable.
Yeah.
And that's
I
what.
I have a Jamaican friend that we used to go around, and she would do insurance, and I would do talk about my teas, and we used to go to churches and stuff. The other day I was frightened. I was taking something on Facebook, and I saw her agent. I'm like, hello.
Mhm, mhm. But it's a
Yeah,
fantastic feel. If you love people
yeah. And
and
she
you
was
love
very
to help,
passionate, very
it's
passionate
it's
about it.
it's a fantastic feel.
Yeah. So if I have my few subjects, I can contact you for advice as to how to get into it. And isn't there also something that says you may be doing this, and even if you're not making all the sales you need to keep you 100% afloat, you can be doing other side hustle while you're building up this side, right?
In terms of life insurance, I don't know any top or successful person who really does a side hustle. This job, you
No,
can't do
it's
anything.
that
If
intense.
you're going to make it big, you have to give it your full attention. After a period of time, when you have made it, and if you want to diversify now, that's a different thing. But the side
So
hustling
how
thing,
you manage when you don't make that money for that month?
no, that's the whole thing. So
You have to make it.
you have to be self-motivated, and you have to tell yourself that wherever you need to make it, you're going to make it. So the
Okay.
top producers, they find a way to make it, and that's why they're top producers.
Okay. Pamela said you'll make a lot of money if you're a good fit. Um. Okay. So Pamela says if anyone needs money, insurance in Florida. Where did that go? If anyone needs insurance in Florida, I have a friend. Okay. You have to do a seminar. She said you have to do a seminar in the area. Yeah, so it's well worth us talking about this. We can do it as a career. We need it for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And what about other jobs within the within the insurance industry that is not selling insurance? Because there is car insurance. Well, I shouldn't say not selling insurance. It's still selling insurance, but not you having to go out on the street to look clients. I don't know what happens in Jamaica, but I had my girlfriend that I spoke about. She or two girlfriends who are in the insurance, and one of them she used to work in the office,
Mm-hmm.
and she never goes out on the street to look for business unless she wants to, because people would come into the office to buy insurance for their cars and their
Mm-hmm.
houses and so on. So she would
Mm-hmm.
service those clients. Do we have that in Jamaica?
Sure, we do. We do. So that's general insurance. But even to
Hmm.
go back to life insurance, you have agents who don't leave out of their offices.
Oh, really?
They did what they should have done in the early years. So in the later years, they stay in. Clients just call them and they walk in. So it's just
Okay.
what you make of it. So that is an area of life insurance. You have top advisors that they really don't go on the street.
Right, right. And Dwayne Miller here is saying, now I know much more about insurance. And Dwayne Miller, that's your brother?
No.
Okay. And Daily Rogers says you have to be a people person. But you can learn to be a people person.
Yes, you can.
You can learn. You
Mhm.
can, if you're a serious person, you can learn to smile. You
Mhm.
can absolutely learn to smile. And
Yes,
and
you
so all
can.
of these are skills that you can develop. So
Mhm.
so don't leave it down to people person. I'm not a big talker in the
Mhm.
sense that I don't I when I have to talk a lot, sometimes it exhausts me. But yet I come on here and talk the hell out of it. And you think that I really love to talk. Sometimes I'm wrapped up in my bed and I don't even want to come out to talk. But yeah, I come on here and I do it because I see the necessity to do it, right? And that's why when I stopped doing it for a while, it's hard to break myself back into it. And if I don't have to do it, I shy away from doing it. But you can do it because you see the need to do it. So even if
Agree.
you're not a great people person, you can learn the skills because it's important to you. So can I sell insurance in Jamaica even though I live overseas?
No. No,
Why?
if you can, oh, no, I'm
I
sorry. If you
can
can,
I sell insurance in Jamaica even though I live overseas?
no, no. A
Why?
part of the requirement is that you're in Jamaica.
But
A
but
part,
how you
a
gonna
part
know
of,
where I am?
no, because you have different aspects to it and coming on their questions that are asked. So no. if
I
if
have a
if you're
TRN. How are you gonna know
already,
where I am?
the difference now, Evadne, if you are already in the business or in the industry and you
Mhm.
happen to go overseas to live, then that's
Mhm.
another story. But
Okay.
as it is now, you can't live overseas and be selling here. Because we have agents who basically live
Migrate.
overseas,
Mhm.
and they still sell.
And they still keep up their business.
Mhm.
All right. Any other question for her? We are over an hour already, but when it's good, when we're having fun, you don't watch the time so much. But we're over an hour. Is there any more questions? I hope that some people in this group who will see this will take it up to have a conversation with her, contact her about going into the business yourself because as far as I know, it's a lucrative business. I don't know anybody who is into insurance business full time and didn't do well, didn't own properties, didn't, do very well for themselves. Pamela says, excellent, nice. Thank you, Pamela. So if there's any other question, um, let me hear from you now, Shami. What's next?
What's next in terms of what next
Your
in terms
your your
my
your life,
journey?
your
My
journey. I
journey?
know you're doing your PhD, and where do you see yourself going from here?
Well, my aim is just to be an agent of social change. So, what's next for me? Continue on the journey that I'm on, into leadership. So, I want to go into consulting and I'm hoping to get back into education. So, I want to do some lecturing. So, I'm going to go back
I
because what I do now as a unit manager, I have to recruit, I have to teach, I have to lecture, I have to do all of that.
I
So, I
hear a
think
politician in there somewhere.
not a politician. So
I hear a politician in there
so
somewhere.
consulting, education, and just continue making an impact,
Right,
to
but tell me
influence
why
the
why
lives of
why wouldn't
individuals.
you why wouldn't you go into representational politics? You have such great personality. You understand the grassroots. You come from, you push yourself from the bottom up. Why wouldn't you? There are
But
lots of ladies in Jamaica now in leadership position in terms of politics. I think you would be a great candidate.
but in terms of the corporate world, um, that well, no, I don't want to say the wrong things now, Evadne. I will not say it's politics. I'm not, I'm not going to say it's politics,
Now
but
listen, we need strong leaders. We need good leaders. We
yeah,
need
yeah.
solid
I've
people.
I've never thought about it. I've
Well,
never thought
start
about
thinking
it.
about it, honey, because we're gonna put you up. Um, Let me see who else is here. We have what I think is lacking from our area is that we have so much education. A lot of educated people came out of the new market, the whole new market scene, but I don't see a lot of ladies who are pushing towards leadership. They
Mhm,
don't speak up. They don't.
mhm,
It's like I usually say when I just started this program that the ladies need to find their voices. They don't speak up and
mhm,
out.
mhm, mhm,
Everybody wants to be in the background. Everybody want to
mhm,
fall back because it's so much
mhm.
our culture
So
to
much
not
our culture.
not
Have to
push
stand
ourselves
out.
in front because people think you're show off, people
Mhm,
think you're too enough, people think
mhm,
you're this and people. So that thing of m- m- muting, especially women. It is so obvious now. The
Mm-hmm.
ladies will not speak. You have
Mm-hmm.
people who are teachers and they're afraid to come on this program and talk.
Really?
How can you be a teacher and you cannot speak on here? I don't get
So,
it.
so the issue is deeper. So it's deeper.
It's very
It's
deep because that's
yeah.
how we were raised.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because I'm a loud mouth why I'm here talking.
Mm-hmm.
And because people are afraid of people saying that they're show off or they're too enough. So they kind of what do you call that, recoil into themselves, and
Mm-hmm.
everything for them is so private.
Mm-hmm.
Even when it will
Mm-hmm.
help somebody else, they're not coming out to say it. Even when they go in the church and they speak in the church, they can't go more public than the church because
Mm-hmm.
people will say you are a show off and they're
So,
afraid
so
of
it's
what
about the
people will
mindset.
say.
So that's where it begins. So we
Yeah.
have to change the mindset.
And to change that, we have to have more people like you leading and speak. Well, you are leading, but
Mm-hmm.
you need to be um, more in their eyes for them to see and to influence them.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we never had this program, how would they know about you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how would they know that you even exist?
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't, because there wasn't a forum for us to come together as a community for
Mm-hmm.
them to get to know you. We don't
Mm-hmm.
even have big career fairs for the area. I was hoping to have one, but this COVID thing is not going away. So that
Mm-hmm.
people like you can come there and stand up and talk with young people so they can get to know you. So I'm happy that this forum is here so that we can expose more and more people. Because when I asked for insurance people in the area,
Mm-hmm.
it took me a while before I got anybody responding about
Mm-hmm.
insurance person. I had to take my girlfriend who is here to come
Mm-hmm.
on here to talk about something to do with insurance. And
Okay.
still, I reached out to a few other people who are in insurance, and
Mm-hmm.
they still have not responded to me. And they're
And,
from the area,
and
and they
just
don't they don't
and just
see
to
the
commend you too.
opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see the opportunity that they're coming on here to talk about insurance can get them some new clients.
An opportunity.
They don't see that.
Yeah.
They all they see is that they have to be talking to their people who they grew up among, and that scares the hell out of them. But that's
Mm-hmm.
not supposed to be so.
Mm-hmm. And
It's
and
supposed to.
and 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 just to commend you to Evadne, on this
Thank
initiative,
you.
because as I was thinking to myself, so many unsung heroes, so many. So it's a good initiative, and
Yeah,
at a time like this where there's despair, we have to let people know that there is hope. And as
and
I love to say, you are responsible for your outcome. It doesn't
mhm.
matter where you're coming from.
And
You
we
are
have people.
responsible.
Most importantly, what I learned from doing this program is that we have people. We have a lot of people from Newmarket in high places, but people don't want to talk what they do. People don't want anybody to know their education level. People don't want anybody to know their achievement because they don't want them to think that they're showing off. We need to get
And
over
and
that.
and and another thing to Evadne, we have to appreciate where we're coming from,
And
because
who
if
we
we
are.
and who we are, because if we
Mhm.
don't appreciate where we're coming from, when we get to where we want to go, we're not going to appreciate it.
No,
So we have
no.
to learn to appreciate. Yes,
Right.
it's a little community, rural community, as I love to tell people that I'm up from in the bushes or the hills, and I love my hills and my bushes.
Yeah. People
So
usually
it's
say,
a
"Where
fantastic
are you
community.
from? You're from Jamaica? Are you from Kingston?" I'm like, "No, I'm from country."
Country, no, when I say country, I don't just say it one time. I say country, country. So
No,
they
I'm
can
just like,
just
no,
imagine.
no, I'm not from Kingston. No Montego Bay either. I'm from country. All right. Let me see who else is here. Be a good listener too, says and Daily Rogers. Pamela said, my friend tried to get me into insurance, but that's me. You can still go inside there, Pamela. Um, excellent night, says Pamela. Pamela, an insurance thing that I see here in the States that is very, very good is that final expense thing. I see a lot of people go in there and do pretty well. Jacqueline Spence Dew says, you're very knowledgeable and determined, so I'm quite sure that you're the top employee at your company? So speak to that. Speak to that. Speak up.
Oh, okay. Over the years, the closest, no, I'll speak to it. Over the years,
Mhm.
I've always been in the top 10. The
Mhm.
closest I've ever been to the top was the first runner up, and that was a big deal. So I've always been in the top 10 in the company.
All right. All right. So Yvonne here says, very informative, Miss Miller. Do they have careers day at high school in Jamaica? Of course they do, but yeah.
But no
Um,
insurance advisors normally go. We don't normally hear of that career
oh
at
my
Careers Day.
God. So they don't even recognize yours as a big
People
career.
don't know about it. They don't know.
That that would be the time to discuss this at a career option. Just like funeral director. When I was in Mandeville going to school, we had funeral people come in and bring caskets into career fair, JDF helicopter, all of those. But then that's not that's Mandeville, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, but we're gonna have a virtual career day, or if this COVID won't let up by spring, so that we can have people like you talk to the young people. Um, Barbara says that social change is necessary. Very informative conversation. I'm an insurance accountant, says Pamela. We have a plan. Um, we have to plan the seminar, she said. All right.
Okay.
I think I've exhausted you enough. This is a
Yeah.
long conversation. We have to save some for another time.
Yes, it was good.
Shami, can I tell you how proud I am of you and
Thank
your
you.
accomplishment?
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy that your brother introduced us. He is going to be coming on here. I think he wanted you to go in front of him,
As
and
per usual.
and I am so proud of you and your family for what the contributions that you all have been making. Your brother, may I say it here, is it your brother or your cousin? Your cousin died recently, the
Yes,
one
my
from
cousin. Hmm.
Westmoreland, who was
Hmm.
the was it
Rada manager.
RADA manager. That's your cousin, right? And we didn't get his story. And I said that to your brother. This guy was doing so much, and we didn't get his
True.
story. We didn't get his story, and we need these stories. They will form a part of like an archive for the community, that people can
Mhm.
see who were here many years
Many
down the
years
road,
ago, and
and
what
what
they
these
have done.
people did and who they really are. And we're
Mhm.
losing our community members very fast. And every time I hear somebody die, it pains my heart, that there goes another person that we didn't hear their stories. No matter how humble that story
Mhm.
is, it's worth telling, and it's worth
Mhm.
recording, so
Mhm.
that everybody
Mhm.
could know who this person really was.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because we are cultured to hide who we are from each other, even our neighbors. And so I'm very happy and appreciative that you came out here and told your story, and that Barbara came on last night and told her story also. And, I hope we will continue to do this. And if you can help us to find some other people, we are down for it. I'm always open to come on here and open up this program to people to hear who they are, what they are, and what they're about, and to help their business too,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
we need to help to build up each other's business. So
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
do hope that
Agree.
you get some business from coming on here tonight,
Okay.
right?
And thank
Any
you
any
for having
final
me.
any final word to the
Yes,
community and these guys?
thank you
Talk-
for having me too. And as I said, I must commend you on this initiative. Many
Thank you.
persons conceive it, but to actually follow through and to do it in the consistent manner that you've been doing it, I must commend you, because
Thank
I'm
you.
sure it calls for commitment, sacrifice. And that is what we need to as a people. People
Right.
who are committed, people who will follow through, people who will stick to our crafts until we master them. So it
Mhm.
was indeed a good evening. And to the viewers, thank you for listening. Remember, if you know someone who who is even out of a job, and you believe that they have the characteristics that we're looking for, you can just share my number and my email address. And although I'm in unit management, I still sell life insurance policies. I love it, outside of the fact that I can make money from it. I like to find solutions to problems. so you can reach out to me too. And I hope that after COVID, we can even connect in a more face to face manner. So thank you, Evadne, for having me. And I look forward to the continued relationship.
Thank you. Awesome, awesome. Love you so much. Love you so much, and you're down to earth spirit. Alric M. Miller, E. Miller said, solid conversation, community excellence.
That's my brother.
Yes, yes, Alaric. We want you here next week, Alaric. Barbara says she is impacting individuals here and across the pond. Yeah, we want to do global impact right across, you know, and we want to pull up our little community first, and then others with us. But you know, we have to focus, laser focus. People want to know why I focus on New Market. Why not the wider St. Elizabeth? Why not Jamaica? Why not? Why not? Why not? But
Mm-hmm.
in order to be effective,
Mm-hmm.
we need to perfect what we're
Mm-hmm.
doing in one area before we move to the next. Isn't that what you teach? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're doing it here. So thank you guys. Thank you
Thank you.
so, so much. And have a blessed
Okay.
night. And on Thursday night, we're going to have another young lady in the house. She's a florist. She is a CEO. She has her own business, and she is something else. Florist, CEO, and what else does she do? She does something else, and she's gonna be here with us on Thursday night. So big her up. Be prepared to cheer her on like you're cheering on our guest tonight. And that's it from me. And guys, please eat plant based. I'm not going to take it out of your face. You're not sharing it. You're not liking it, but you need to start considering eating plant based. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful night. God
Okay.
bless you.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.